So you're dreaming of moving to Canada, right? Well, one of the biggest steps on that journey is often an English test. Today, we're going to demystify one of the key players, the CLPIP test. We're going to break down exactly what it is, who it's for, and everything you need to know to decide if it's right for you.
Look, whether you're hoping to land a great job, continue your studies, or just start a brand new chapter, proving your English skills is pretty much a must-do. And for a whole lot of people, the CELPP test is that crucial first step.
Okay, so what in the world is CELPP? Officially, it stands for the Canadian English Language Proficiency Index Program. Yep, that's a mouthful. Just forget the long name. Here's the important part. This test isn't about fancy academic English. It's all about the practical, real-world English you'll actually use day-to-day in Canada. Think about talking to coworkers, understanding the news, or just chatting with your neighbors.
To make this super clear, we've got our roadmap for you. First, we'll cover the basics of what CELPIP is. Then, we'll figure out which version of the test you might need. After that, we'll take a peek inside the test itself. We'll decode the scoring system, compare it to the other big test, IELTS, and then wrap it all up with a checklist to help you succeed. Sound good? Let's dive in. All right, Section 1. Let's really nail down why this test is so important and who officially recognizes it on your path to Canada.
So this isn't just any test. It's a key that can unlock some really important doors. The biggest one? It's officially designated by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, you'll hear them called IRCC, for both permanent residency and for citizenship applications. On top of that, a lot of professional groups for fields like engineering or nursing require it for you to get licensed. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
Okay, so you're thinking CELPIP might be the way to go. But wait, there's a choice you have to make first, because there are actually two different versions of the test. You've got to pick the right one for your specific goal.
So here are your two options. On the left, you've got the CELPIP General test. Think of this one as the whole shebang: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. This is the test you'll need if you're applying for permanent residency, like through the express entry system. Now on the right is the General LS test. The LS is for listening and speaking, and that's all it covers. This one is specifically for people who are already permanent residents and are taking that final step to apply for Canadian citizenship.
All right, you've picked your test. Now, let's pull back the curtain and talk about test day. What does it actually feel like when you sit down in front of that computer? What should you expect? First things first, get comfortable. The full CELPIP General test takes about 3 hours, and this is important, you do it all in one go. There's no coming back another day for the speaking part. It's a bit of a marathon, not a sprint, so you'll want to be prepared for that. The test moves through the 4 skills in a very specific order. You'll start with listening, then move to reading. After that, it's the writing section, and you finish up with speaking. Let's quickly look at what's inside each of these.
Right away, in the listening section, you'll notice that Canadian focus. The accents you'll hear are North American, just like you'd hear on the streets of Toronto or Vancouver. Now, here is the golden rule. You only get to hear the audio once. That's it. There's no rewind button, so you have to be totally zoned in.
Next up is reading. And again, it's all about real-life stuff. You'll be reading things like work emails, online articles, or maybe a set of instructions. The good news is that all the questions are multiple choice, but they're cleverly designed to see if you can quickly figure out the main point and read between the lines. In the writing section, you get 2 tasks that feel very practical: writing an email and answering some survey questions. And this is where that all-computer format really matters. You're typing everything. So how comfortable you are with a keyboard and how fast you can type can definitely make a difference here.
And finally, we get to the speaking section. Now, this is the part that often catches people by surprise. You don't talk to a person. Instead, you'll see a prompt on the screen and you'll speak your answer into a microphone. It's all recorded for someone to grade later. You'll do things like give some advice, share your opinion, or describe what's happening in a picture.
Phew! You've made it through the test. Now for the part everyone's waiting for, the results. So, how did you do? Let's break down how the CELPIP scoring works.
Okay, so for each of the 4 skills, you'll get a score on a scale from 1 to 12. But what does a 9 or a 7 actually mean? Well, it maps directly onto something called the Canadian Language Benchmarks, or CLB. As you can see, a CELPIP score of 8 is a CLB 8. A 9 is a CLB 9. For a lot of immigration programs, that CLB 7 is a really important number to hit, so that's a common target for many test takers. Now here's a feature you're going to love about CELPIP: the speed. You get your results online in just 4 to 5 business days, which is way faster than some other tests. Your score is then good for 2 years, and you can send it directly to IRCC electronically, which really helps smooth out your application process.
And now, for the big question that so many people ask, how does CELPIP compare to the other major English test out there, IELTS? Let's put them side by side and see what the differences are.
This little chart really lays it all out. With CELPIP, you're getting North American accents and the whole test is on a computer. With IELTS, you'll hear a mix of accents from all over the world, and you can choose between a paper test or a computer test. But honestly, for most people, the choice comes down to one big thing, the speaking test. Do you feel more comfortable talking into a computer, or would you rather have a face-to-face chat with a human examiner? There's no right or wrong answer. It's just about what works best for you.
We've covered what the test is, what's inside it, and how it's scored. Let's finish up with the most important part. How can you actually prepare to walk in on test day and do your absolute best?
Success really comes down to smart practice. First, make sure you use the official CLP practice materials. That is so important. Second, since it's a computer test, practice typing against the clock. And third, remember the goal is always clear communication, not perfect, flawless grammar. Oh, and here's a little pro tip. Try to use Canadian spelling for words like color or center. It's a small touch, but it shows you're already thinking like a local.
Let's quickly bust a few common myths. First, people say CELPIP is easier than IELTS. It's not. It's just different. One might be easier for you, depending on your skills. Second myth, you need a Canadian accent. Absolutely not true. They care about being clear, not what kind of accent you have. And finally, no, you don't need perfect grammar. Getting your message across effectively is what really counts.
So if you're going to remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. CELPIP is built from the ground up for one purpose. It's a practical, computer-based test that's laser-focused on the kind of English you'll actually need for your new life in Canada. So we've laid out the entire map for you, from the different sections to the scoring to how to prepare. You now have the info you need to decide if this test is the right path for your Canadian dream. Whatever you choose, we wish you the very best of luck.